Welcome back to the channel. This is Scott Fusco. This is the next installment of our Learn Guitar Starting from Zero Totally Comprehensive Beginner Series. Check out the playlist in the description. Today we're going to be talking about rhythm. So it's going to be beat, pulse, time signatures, quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, and most importantly, I'm going to teach you how to hear and so you can correct yourself when you're practicing. Are you rushing? Are you dragging? I'm not going to do 16th notes. We'll have to do that another time. But if you can master the material in this module, you'll be able to play a lot of stuff. And it will probably take you a long time, so you have to be patient. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is playing to a beat. If you go on Google and you type in metronome, this will come up. I have it set right now at 55 BPM. BPM means beats per minute. So this is going to beat 55 times per minute. Now, this is a good, we call it a tempo. It's a good tempo for a beginner when you're practicing something. It's slow enough that you'll have time to get to the next note. It's not too fast, but it's not also too slow. Sometimes if it's too slow, that can create other problems. But generally when you play music, it's going to be to a beat. And the reason for that is everybody in the band needs to have a reference point to lock into, and the audience needs something that they can tap their foot to and dance to, okay? So a quarter note gets one beat. So what that means is every time you hear the click, you're going to play a note. So here's what quarter notes sound like. Okay, if I'm playing chords. Now, you also have half notes. They get 2 beats. So you can count them like this. By the way, this is how I would count quarter notes. 1, 1, 1, 1. Half notes are going to get 2, so it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to talk about whole notes. That's going to get 4. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure when you play a longer tone, like a half note or a whole note, or even really a quarter, you have to try to you have to maintain pressure for the entire beat. Otherwise, you're not really giving it the full value. Like if I'm playing a whole note, 1, 2, 4. You see what I did there? I lifted my finger off around 2 because I got nervous and I wanted to make sure I would have time to get to the next one on 1. So recall from an earlier lesson where I talked about right and left hand technique. 2, 3, 4. See how I'm holding that down? I'm getting this guy ready. And then as soon as he goes down, the other one gets lifted. So this is what it should look like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to listen to yourself. If you're going to be a beginner and you're going to try to teach yourself guitar, the most important skill that I can try to teach you is the ability to listen critically at your own playing. So if you're playing and it sounds like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. You hear that gap there? 3, 4. So you have to, like I said, maintain pressure. Now what I'm playing right now is finger exercise 1 from I think it was the left and right hand technique video, so you can check that out in the description, the playlist. So let's try this. Let's try and play this exercise. We're just going to play 1, 2, 3, 4 on every string and then backwards. Let's try and play that together, quarter notes. Here we go. Ready, go. chords. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now, that was pretty much right on the money. What you're trying to listen for is, are you early or are you late with the pick strikes on the string? So I'm going to play here, and I want you to try to listen to what I'm playing and say, does it sound like my pick is articulating at exactly the right moment on the beat? Or is it early or is it late? So here's what early sounds like. You can hear that I'm picking, and then you hear the click. And keep in mind, there's all different magnitudes for this. You can be just a hair early, you can be a little bit early, you can be a lot early. Here's just a hair early. You hear that? Now, late is going to be, you're going to hear the click, and then you're going to hear what you're doing. So that would be this. Now, here's just a hair late. Now, as a beginner, you're probably going to be all over the place. Sometimes you're going to be right on the money. Sometimes you're going to be early or late or a hair off. But you really have to train yourself to listen to yourself. I can't emphasize that enough. I'll also say that some people just have very poor timing ability as a beginner. Okay, and that affects some people. Some people have talents in different areas. So if you're one of those people that you're really struggling with timing, I would really suggest getting a private teacher, because a lot of times this is something that you have to work on with a teacher under their guidance for maybe months. But let's just keep going for now. So I'm going to try to improve your ear a little bit. I'm going to play, and I'm either going to be early, on the money, or late, and you try and listen and tell me what it is. What do you think that was? I'll do it again. Okay, so that was late. I'll do another one. That one was right on the money. That one was right on the money. That one was early. That one was significantly late. Okay. Let's try another one here. That one was late, but not as bad as the other one. That one was just slightly late, a hair late, I would call it. You should probably take a photo of this right here. So this is all the basic terminology that we're going to talk about in this video. This is what everything looks like. Quarter note, 1 beat, half note, 2 beats, whole note, 4 beats, dotted half, 3. This is what an eighth note looks like when it's by itself. If you have 2 of them, we beam them. We attach them with what we call a beam. This is 4 of them beamed together. Eighth notes get half of a beat each. So that's a half a beat. Half plus a half is 1. Half, 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 that is 2. Time signature, here are some examples. 3, 4, 4, 4. 3 beats per measure, 4 beats per measure. Typically, you're going to see things like this. You have a chord chart. Say you're trying to play a song. Here we have our time signature. These are called bar lines. And then these are measures or bars. So here's one measure, another measure. So we have 4 bars here, or 4 measures. Now the first bar, you're going to strum a C chord. When you see something like this, it's not going to tell you how to strum. It's not going to give you what we call the strumming pattern. So you have to use your own sense of taste to determine what's appropriate for the song. But you see what I did here? I wrote out the numbers. So you're going to strum that C chord for four beats. Then you go to this bar. You can do the same thing for 4, G for 4. Then this bar, you can see we have D for 2, D7 for 2. So that bar has 2 chords in it. You'll see stuff like that pretty frequently. In the video, we're going to talk about strumming patterns, but I want you to see what it looks like. So if we're in 4/4, here's a simple strum pattern. I'm just playing quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So this song, playing that strum pattern, I would strum like this on every single beat. Now this, if you were doing the second strum pattern, half notes, you would just strum every other. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here we have a half note and then 2 quarters. So that one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So I'm going to teach you a scale that a lot of you probably already know. It's the minor pentatonic scale. We're going to do it in the key of A minor. So I'm on the 5th fret. I'm going to play 5, 8 with my pinky, next string 5, 7, next string 5, 7, 5, 7, next string 5, 8, 5, 8. Here's a simple way you can remember this. The outer 2 strings are the same. They're both index and pinky, right? The B string is also the same as this. So these 2 are the same, and this one. And then these middle 3 are the same. Okay? So let's see if we can play it with quarter notes. Ready, go. So once again, our tempo is 55 BPM. So that was quarter notes. Now we're going to do half. Ready, go. Notice that I'm maintaining the pressure for the full 2 beats. 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, a couple things I heard in my own playing there. One of the notes on this string, I picked, and then my pick just tapped the string. I don't know if you heard that. I heard that. I heard that I was late on, just very, very slightly late on a couple of notes. I think it might have been this one, and then one of the ones that the other ones that I was descending. So, like I said, try to listen to your playing. Let's see if we can do whole notes now. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. make sure when the string is ringing, don't touch the pick with the string while it's ringing. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was a screw up there. 3, 4. It's almost kind of hard to play this slow. It gives you so much time to think about what you're doing that you can kind of psych yourself out a little bit. But you can work on all of those. Now what we're going to try to do is we're going to talk a little bit about time signatures. Okay. So today we're only going to cover 4/4 and 3/4. If you look at a piece of sheet music, you're going to see 4 and then a line and then a 4 underneath it. That tells you that there's 4 beats per measure. Okay. If you see 3/4, that means 3 beats per measure. Now we're not going to talk about the bottom number yet. We're just talking about the top number. Okay, that's all you need to know right now. So 4/4, 4 beats per measure. 3/4, 2 beats per measure. 2/4, 2 beats per measure. There's a lot of different time signatures, and it gets very, very complicated. So we're only going to tackle these right now. Okay. So what we're doing is, by the way, as a measure is if you just take the beats, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just encapsulating that and saying, hey, that's one idea. We're calling it a measure. It's a way of grouping the music, okay? So here's what 4/4 would sound like if I'm playing a C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was one bar. Maybe I go to another chord. 3, 4. Another chord. 2, 3, 4. Maybe I play another measure of D. 3, 4. Okay? Now, I'll show you what 3/4 looks like, okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to play, like when we were in 4/4, I was playing 4 beats per measure, so I was playing whole notes. You could play half notes. It would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Or I could play quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in 3/4, it would sound like this. If I want something to take up the whole measure, that's called a dotted half note. That gets 3 beats, okay? So far we have a way of describing 1 beat, 2, 3, and 4. And by the way, I would recommend going to Dollar Tree. Get yourself some flashcards. On one side of it, you can write quarter note. And then on the other side, you can write the symbol for it and how many beats it gets. And then you just sit there and study that. All your terminology you have right there, and you can study it once a day or however many times you can look at it. So what I was saying is when we're in 3/4, we're not going to play a whole note because a whole note gets 4 beats. So that wouldn't make sense. That would fill up the whole bar. A bar is a measure, by the way. Okay, so it would fill up the whole bar plus 1 beat. So if we want something that fills up the whole bar, we need a dotted half note. Okay, so here's a dotted half note in 3/4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So let's try quarter notes in 3/4. Ready, go. 1. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now you're listening to yourself. Are you early? Are you late? 1, 2, 3. I'll do another example of that with chords. You try to figure out if I'm early or late. So that was early. Now with these different time values, what I would do is you can practice your scale and you can play chords. Okay. So let's try this. Let's try quarters with the minor pentatonic scale. Now, once you can do that, I would try and go, without stopping, try to go to a different time value. So I'm going to go to half notes. 2. Now I'm going to go to quarters. I can go to dotted halves. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go back to halves. 1, 2. 1. Quarters. Dotted halves. 1, 2, 3. Whole notes. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Quarters. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now, keep in mind, we're in the key of A minor. When you play this scale off A, recall the chromatic scale. That's A. So let's change keys. Let's try it in the key of G minor. Same thing, but I'm going to change the tempo this time. Let's go up to 65. And I'll just call out, and I want you to try to adjust in real time. So we're going to start on quarters. 1, 1, 1, 1. Right? So quarters is every time you hear the beat, you're playing something. Let's go to halves. Quarters. Dotted halves. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's do whole. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. Quarter. Half. Whole. Okay. Now, let's try the same idea, but with chords. So, I'm just going to play, why don't we play G, C, D, okay? So, let's start off by doing quarters, and then I'll call out different time values. Ready, go. Halves. Whole. 2, 3. Quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half. 1, 2, 3. Quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half. Now, when you're strumming, pay attention to my right hand. Every time I hear that click, my hand is going to go down. It's going to be down here, okay? Now, if I'm not playing, I want to keep the rhythm in my hand going. So I'm going to, what I'm going to do is miss the string. If I play a half note, I'm going to go. Instead of going like this, and just leaving my hand there. You can do that eventually, but just for now, it's a good idea to keep the rhythm in your hand moving. So let's try quarters. Ready, go. Let's just stay on G for this. Now I'm going to go to halves. 1, miss. 1, miss. 1, miss. Okay? So there's different ways to count things. When I'm counting a quarter note as 1, 1, 1, 1, that's just to illustrate a point that each one is getting one beat. Okay? But normally I'm not going to count like that. I'm always going to count based off of what my time signature is. So if I'm in 4/4, I'm going to count in groups of 4. So I would count like this. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, If I'm in 3/4, I would do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, let me just explain something else. When we're talking about time signatures, that's also called meter. So if somebody asks you, hey, what is the meter? It could be 4/4, it could be 3/4, it could be 2/4, whatever. Now, keep in mind when we're playing music, a pulse is just the steady beat. But music, it has different, it has variations in attack. So some notes, some beats are going to be strong and some are going to be weak and some are going to be in between. This is why it's important to learn how to listen, and that's going to be basically the emphasis of everything that I teach you. We're just laying the foundation of all the theory that you need to know. But I'm going to, now that we've kind of covered a lot of the basics, there's still more to do, but I want everything to be about teaching you how to listen, okay? Because that is really what's going to help you teach yourself. So in later videos, I'm going to give you musical examples and then teach you how I would listen to it, how I would count it. But for now, think of it like this. We're in 4/4. 1 is typically the strongest beat. 2 is weak. 3 is strong, but not as strong as 1. And then 4 is weak. All right, so I'm going to play a G chord demonstrating this. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can hear that 1 is the strongest, 3 is medium strength, 2 and 4 are weak. Now that's very typical for 4/4, but there's no rule that says that 4/4 is always like that. You could do 1 could be weak, 2 and 4 could be strong. So let's listen to what it sounds like when 1 is weak. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that example, 1 and 3 were weak, 2 and 4 were strong. Okay. So again, you have to learn how to listen to this stuff, and I'll walk you through that in future videos. So let's try to play this. Let's try to play, we're in 4/4, and we have a 4-bar idea. In music, typically ideas are in some multiple of 4 bars. So you might have a 4-bar thing, an 8-bar thing, a 12-bar thing, a 16-bar thing, whatever. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play 2 bars of G, then we're going to play 1 bar of C and 1 bar of D. Okay? And I'm going to call out different note values. It doesn't really matter, for the purposes of this example, how we're articulating each of these chords. Like I could be playing whole notes, I could be playing half, I could play 2 quarters and then a half. Right, so we'll get into that in a little bit with more complicated strumming patterns. But the point is if you're playing G for 2 bars, make sure that you play it for 2 bars. Okay, you got 8 beats total. Whatever you do to get there, it needs to be 2 bars. Here we go. Ready, go. G, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna go to whole. 1, 2, 3. Missing with my hand, whole. 1, 2, 3. D, half. 1, 2, 3. Back to G. 1 quarter. 2, 3, 4. 1. Here comes C. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. D, half. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what we're going to try to do is called playing a strumming pattern. So we're going to just pick something, and it's going to remain static. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play 2 quarter notes. That's going to be on beat 1 and 2. Then we're going to play a half note on beat 3. So beat 4 we're not going to play because it's the second beat of the half note. So here's what it's going to sound like. And you should try to count along with this. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's try to change the accent pattern. That was what I was talking about earlier, where you have strong and weak on different beats. So let's do what I would say is the most common in 4/4, which is 1 is the strongest, 3 is the second strongest, 2 and 4 are weak. We're going to do that, but we're going to do that with the strumming pattern that we did, which was 2 quarters and then a half. Okay? So that means 1 is going to be strong, 2 is going to be weak, 3 is going to be medium, 4 is going to be a miss. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's try a different strumming pattern. Let's try, we have a half note on beat 1. So that's going to carry us through beats 1 and 2. Then we're going to go to beat 3 and 4. We're going to play 2 quarter notes. And the accent pattern is going to be the same. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So look, you can try all different types of strumming patterns. You can Google that. A million things will come up. Now, strumming patterns can get really, really complicated. I'm just giving you some ideas. So typically, we're not just going to play a song playing nothing but whole notes or half notes. You know, there's going to be some variation there. But as a beginner, if you go on a website like Ultimate Guitar or something like that, and you're trying to play along with a song, what I would do is, when you're learning the song, assuming that your transitions are good, you know, you worked on that, just play quarter notes. So you have to listen and figure out when you're looking at a chord chart, like say it tells you to play a C chord, you have to figure out how many beats are you playing that for. Is it 2 beats? Is it 4? Is it two bars? And I'm going to have to do another video on that, but I'm just trying to give you an example of things you could practice. So if you're playing a song that is just, like I said, 3 chords, G, C, and D, that would be a good way that you could practice it, would be try to pick an accent pattern and then pick a simple strumming pattern. And then just keep working on a bunch of things. And then you can try doing the same thing with different combinations of chords. All right, now I'm going to teach you about eighth notes, and this might be too advanced for a lot of people. You might want to take weeks or months to actually work on eighth notes. If your timing is not good on the quarters and the halves and the wholes, I would stick with that for a period of time. So here's what I'm going to do. I have my metronome on 55, and I'm going to show you how you can begin to hear what eighth notes sound like. So if you take a pencil, you're trying to find exactly the halfway point. So every time I hear that click, the pen is going down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... I would try and count along with this. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so those are eighth notes. Now, here's what it looks like when you play them on guitar. If I'm playing, I'm just going to play the high E string. Here's quarters. Now, when I play eighth, the first one is going to be the same as it was on the quarter. But as I'm coming up, I'm going to hit it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so you can work on that. As you're working on that, what you should be listening for is when you go down and you hit the string. Are you early? Are you late? Late? This is late? Early? that's a hair early. So it's going to take you a long time to hear where the beat is when you go up. So you need to, so your reference point is when you go down. So let's try it again. Ready, go. Okay, so this is pretty much right on the money. Now I'm going to be a little bit off. You try and hear if I'm early or late. Okay, so I was late there. Let's try another one. I'm a little bit early there. Let's try another one. And the clue, by the way, is if you're looking at my right hand, or even better, if you're listening, if you see me pick the string before you hear the click, then you know that I'm early. Okay, so you should be able to hear that that was off. Now, when you figure out that it's off, was it early or late? At some point, the line kind of blurs depending on where your reference point is. That was, I would say that that was late, okay, because I was hearing hit and then I hit. But if you're kind of in between, if you're very late to the point where you're almost early on the next beat, it can be a little bit kind of semantics. Let's try this now. Once you can get that, this is an exercise that gives a lot of people problems, okay? Here's what we're going to do. Get your hand and just get it going down with the beat. So I'm imagining that there's like something that I'm hitting on the beat, and then I'm coming up on the and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. A lot of people really struggle with that, so work on that. Now, you don't have to read music to be a musician, but you do need to know what a quarter note is, what a half note is, what an eighth note is, etc. How many beats they get, what they sound like. You should be able to count them. And eventually, when you start reading tablature, most tablature has standard notation above it and tablature below it. So you should be able to use the tablature to tell you where to put your fingers. Like maybe it tells you put your finger here, but it doesn't tell you how long to hold that note for. So if you understand, hey, it's a quarter note, so I hold it for one beat, then you will actually know how to count it. And if you know how to count, say, that measure, then eventually you'll be able to play it. Now, if you have a very good ear, you may not have to count anything. You may just be able to feel everything. But this is going to be another video that I'm going to have to do, showing you exactly how I would count things. All right, so let's try this. I'm going to play eighth notes at 55. I'm going to play the minor pentatonic scale. Let's do it in C minor. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's try it in F sharp minor. E, F, F sharp. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's try the other thing that we were doing, where we weren't playing on the downbeats. We were just playing on the ands. So again, get your hand going like eighth notes, and just do that in a smaller motion now. Let's just try and do it on, I'm just going to play, let me just play this note first. So you can see when we play on the and, which is also called the offbeat, it's typically going to be an upstroke. Does it have to be? No, there's always exceptions to everything, but so just kind of miss on the down and then go up. try it. Let's try it together in B flat minor. Okay. And try to find that. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and. Okay. All right, now let's try it with just strumming. Okay, so first we can just do straight eighth notes. 1 and 2 and ready and go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now keep in mind when you're strumming, you have to crack your wrist when you go down and when you go up. So again, when we play eighth notes, we're listening to the down. See, I started off a little bit late there. Let's try it again. Ready, go. Listen for that down. Let's go to a C chord. Ready, go. Let's go to a D chord. Ready, go. Now, what was the time signature with what I just did there? Go back and listen to it again if you have to. It was in 4/4 because I was going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you can go back and you can try and figure out how many bars we just played. I don't remember, but it was probably some multiple of 4. Multiples of 4 bars sounds complete to the ear, okay? So, like if you were to play something that was 3 bars, it wouldn't quite sound right. It wouldn't sound like it was finished. So the ear expects multiples of 4. Let's try that. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, if I just stopped the song there, it doesn't sound right. Not only because I ended on that chord, which is not a chord you would normally end on, but the listener is expecting one more bar, okay? So that's just something else to be aware of. All right, so now what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and play some chords with that strumming pattern where we're missing on the downbeats. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this. Every time you say a number, that's going to be your hand going down, whether you're picking a single note or strumming. So because we're only playing on the ands, we're going to be missing on every down. Here we go. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and C. D. As you do this, really feel your hand hit like you're striking something. That was 4 bars, by the way. So that was 8 bars we just played. So when you're working on this, the key is you really have to train yourself to listen. So make sure you're counting, make sure your hands are moving along with the beat. And then, you know, if you're really a beginner, you might not work on eighth notes for months, which is fine. Work on quarters, work on halves, and work on whole notes, okay? So let's talk about 3/4 again. So 3/4 is an interesting tempo because 1 is typically very, very strong, and 2 and 3 are weak. And a lot of times you'll play it at a faster tempo. Okay, if you've ever heard a waltz, 3/4 is a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, do, 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 1, 2, 3. Here we go. So I'm at 102 right now. Get your hand going. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. C chord. 1, 2, 3. D. Back to G. G. C. Now, I don't know how many bars we played there. Maybe, but it was some multiple of 4. I don't know if it was 8, 12, 16. But you could go back and listen to it again to figure it out. Now, what kind of notes was I playing there? Well, each strum was getting 3 beats, right? So I was playing dotted half notes. Now, let's try another strumming pattern in 3/4. I'm going to play a quarter note and then a half note. So keep in mind that when you come up with a strumming pattern, it always has to add up to whatever the bar value is. So if you're in 3/4, you have to pick time values that add up to 3. So a quarter note would be 1, a half would be 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, right? So again, I'm playing on 1 and I'm playing on 2, I'm missing on 3. And because I'm in 3/4, 1 is going to be very strong. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you want an app for a metronome, this is the one that I use. It's called MetroTimer. And you just set in, like right now I have it on 50, play. You can increase the tempo this way. By the way, tempo, when you look at sheet music, a lot of times you'll see it represented in, it's an approximation. They use different Italian words like moderato or allegro or whatever. But a lot of times in modern, we're kind of in the modern era now, that you might have a specific BPM, like 72 BPM, okay? They might say quarter note equals 72. So say it says quarter note equals 72. I can go to MetroTimer and try to play along with the song, okay? Now, say I'm listening to a song and it goes like this, There's a tap function here. So it's telling me it's around 100, okay? So this is another skill that it takes time to develop. I'll show you how to do that in another video. But basically, when you listen to a song, you can figure out the tempo just by tapping it in, okay? And then you can also figure out the time signature. So I would recommend this. For some people, there's a light button over here. It just makes it click. For some people, they need that visual reference cue. You can put it on a music stand and point it towards you so you can see the light if you're struggling with the timing. So I'll put it at 100 right now. Let's do some ear training. I'm going to play something, and I want you to try to figure out how many beats per measure is what I'm playing. Ready, go. What do you think on that one? So that was 3/4. I'll count it. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's try another one. And this time I'll play something with single notes. Ready, go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that was 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. keep in mind, typically when we play in 4/4, 1 is going to be accented. So 1. Okay. A lot of times a good player will accent 1. Now again, you don't have to accent 1, but that'll give you a clue a lot of times. I'm going to change the tempo. I would encourage you to try to tap in what you're hearing right now in MetroTimer. And then I'll tell you what the tempo is in a little bit. So I'm going to play something, and it's going to be in... I want you to try to figure out the time signature. Ready, go. What do you think? First of all, let's do the tempo. So the tempo, you should have tapped something in that is around 73. Okay. And if you struggle with that, again, you're listening for how well does your beat line up with mine. If yours is a little bit faster, it's rotating a little bit faster, then you know you got to slow it down, or vice versa. So what I played there was something like this. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So that was in 4/4. And I was playing eighth notes. Not all the time, but 1 and 2, 3 and 4, right? So I was playing 1 and 2. That was 2 eighth notes and then a quarter. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. That was again 2 eighths and a quarter. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Also notice with that one how the bar is divided. I'm not playing one chord for the entire bar. I'm mixing it up. On beat 3, I'm changing to a C chord. Ready, go. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. All right. Let's try. Let's talk a little bit about swung eighth notes, okay? Because I did this earlier and maybe you were confused by that. If I'm playing, I'm at 73 right now. Here's what eighth notes would sound like. Notice my head. My head is doing what the metronome is doing. I'm down, down. Okay. A lot of times I don't tap my foot. I use my head. A lot of great players tap their foot. So, but you should feel the tempo and the rhythm in your body. Okay. Now, when you play straight eighth notes, okay, those are perfectly a half of a beat. So if here's a beat, I have 1, 1, 1, 1. If I divide that exactly in half, 1 and 2 and 3, you know what I mean? But what we do with swung eighth notes is we take the first note, instead of giving it a half a beat, you're going to give it 2/3 of a beat. And then the next note is going to be 1/3 of a beat. So it gives it a lopsided feel. It feels like long, short, long, short. So again, I'm at 73 right now. Let me slow it down. I'm going to go down to 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Try it again. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, keep in mind with this, the reason that I'm saying is because I I don't like calling it and, because and is the halfway point. 1 and 2 and. We're at the 2/3 point, so we're a little bit. If the beat is here, our first note is landing here. Our first note is here, and then our second note is here, right? So we got 2/3 and then 1/3. So that's why I call it Some people probably call it and. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, a lot of good players, they'll recognize very quickly when they're off. This is an important thing for beginners, okay? A lot of beginners, they don't recognize that they're off. So you always have to be watching your hand and listening. Are you hitting it at the right time? Because if you're not, you're off. So what I would do as a beginner is when you get off, just stop and then try to get back on. Because if you try to adjust it in real time, it's harder. Once you can do that, then you can try to adjust in real time. Like that last exercise I did, I noticed I was a little bit late, so I adjusted in real time. I'm going to be better at adjusting in real time than most people. Most beginners, when they get off, they can't come back in. That's a whole nother skill that you have to try to work on. So let's try it again. Let's do it in the key of G minor. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you might have trouble playing swung stuff. Okay, a lot of people do. Let's try it. Let's try it a little bit slower. This is 50. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's try it with strumming. So we'll do G, C, D again. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. If you want, you can also do the same thing we did before, where you miss on the downs. Here's straight eighth notes. 1 and 1, 2, swung, miss, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm going to go back to using the metronome on Google just because it's louder. It's hooked up to my computer speakers. So something else I wanted to mention is when you play the minor pentatonic scale, whether any type of eighth notes, swung eighth notes or straight eighth notes, when you get to the top of the pattern, as long as you don't play this note twice, every time you hear the beat is going to be off of your index finger. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to play it at 50. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and. See how my index is lining up with the beat? See how it's still lining up with the beat? Every time I hit my index, it's a down. Let's try it in D minor, but let's try it with swung eighth notes. So I'm on the 10th fret here, right? E, D sharp, D. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. right? You can also, as you get better with this, you can try and mix it up like we did before. This is probably going to be too hard for most people, but I'll just show you so you can try to work on it if you're at that level. So I'll start off with quarter. Ready, go. And randomly, I'll call out a different thing. Here comes half. Eighth. Swung eighth. Quarter. Dotted half. 2, 3. 1, 2. Eighth. Swung. Quarter. Now, the idea is as you work on your timing, you should do this at different tempos. We're at 50 right now. When you start getting below 50, it can be so slow that it's a challenge. So let's try it at 40. Let's do it in B minor. Ready, go. Quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Let's go to half. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter. Eighth. Swung. Now, well, let me show you one other thing. Going back to, I'm in B minor. I'm going to show you that if I don't repeat, I'm going to play straight eighth notes this time. Watch my index finger. Sorry. Go. See how it's lining up with the beat? Now, if I repeat it, if I play this note twice at the top, the only thing that's going to change is as I'm descending, the beat is now going to be on this side of the pattern rather than this one. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. See how it's on the pinky now? Or the ring. So again, I got my pick is doing the same thing as the metronome. My head is doing the same thing. So you have to work on all of these things, maybe one at a time, until you can get them. All right, so I just want to say, there's only so much that I can cover in a module like this. I mean, if I was working with somebody one-on-one, it might take months to get through all of this stuff, okay? So make sure that you come back to the video and watch, and repeat things over and over again. The goal is to get your hand moving with the metronome, your head moving with the metronome, and then know what you're listening for. If you're playing eighth notes, every beat gets half of a beat. Every note gets half of a beat. So every other one has to line up with the beat. That's what you're listening for. If you're playing anything longer than that, whole notes, half notes, dotted half, quarter, everything that you play is going to be a down pick and it's going to be on the beat. So work with this stuff, and then you can also try to learn some simple songs and play some different strumming patterns. Everything that we did, you want to work on single note stuff, like you can play scales, and then also do it with strumming. All right, so thanks for watching. I just hit 300 subscribers, so people are enjoying the videos. I thank you for subscribing. If you have any questions, leave a comment for me. Keep in mind that this video is part of a comprehensive playlist. So if you're hazy on anything, you should really go back to the beginning and watch the first video all the way through here. Now that I've covered a lot of the basics, we can start getting into more interesting stuff next time. Thanks for watching.